I woke up to the smell of antiseptic and the weight of stitches pulling against my skin. My throat was dry, my chest heavy. The first thing I noticed wasn't the pain, it was the silence. No flowers, no warm hand waiting, no husband. The surgeon's face appeared above me, grave but calm. He held an envelope, edges creased like it had been handled more than once. "A lady told me to give you this," he said, if he didn't show up. His words cut deeper than the scalpel ever had. I turned the envelope in my trembling hands, my pulse louder than the monitor's. My husband's absence wasn't a surprise, not really. Just the confirmation of a truth I'd been choking on for months. Still, the cruelty of his timing, abandoning me on an operating table, sealed the coffin on whatever love remained. I opened it slowly, the beginning of us. Once, he looked at me like I was a secret worth keeping. We met at a company gala, both dressed in borrowed elegance. He leaned against the bar, loosened tie, rehearsed charm. I fell for it because I wanted to. He made promises with his eyes before his lips even moved. Back then, I mistook ambition for devotion. When he said, "Everything I do for us," I believed him. We bought a house. We painted the nursery. I ignored the first cracks, the late nights at work, the whispers about a woman in his office. I told myself loyalty meant patience. It took me years to understand loyalty, in his mouth, was just a leash. The discovery. It wasn't one text, it was hundreds. The first was an accident, his phone lighting up on the counter with a name I didn't recognize. I opened it. My hand shook, but my face didn't. That was the last day I cried for him. The messages were graphic, greedy, and routine. The kind of familiarity that only comes with practice. Business dinners were hotel rooms. Overtime was another woman's perfume clinging to his shirts. The final insult came from his mother. When I told her, she laughed, said men will be men, said I was overreacting. She taught him well. The shift. Most women confront, beg, threaten. Not me. I smiled at him at breakfast, kissed his cheek before work. I let him believe I was blind. Because I knew the only real revenge is patience sharpened into precision. I became meticulous. I learned every account number, every password. I traced the company he was funneling money into. Her company. Her name buried under shell corporations. I memorized his tells, the way his jaw twitched when he lied, the casual cruelty in his voice when he thought I wasn't listening. And then came the diagnosis. Surgery, emergency, a body failing me at the exact moment he did. That's when I wrote the envelope. The envelope. Inside was a single letter, my handwriting steady, ink pressed deep from the weight of my resolve. Along with the letter were copies of bank statements, hotel receipts, even the photographs I'd taken of them walking into restaurants together. Proof, stacked like evidence for a trial. The instructions were clear. If I died, it would all be delivered to his partners, his boss, his mother, and most importantly, her. If I lived, I'd decide how to use it. I lived. The plan. I let him think he'd gotten away with it. After the surgery, he walked in hours later, reeking of whiskey, phone still buzzing. He smiled thinly, called me dramatic for being upset, said, "You're fine, aren't you? Don't make a scene." I didn't. Instead, I filed papers quietly, froze the accounts he didn't know I controlled, sold the house from under him, it was in my name, the car too. Every asset he thought was his was already mine. By the time he noticed, he was cornered. The confrontation. It was a Tuesday evening when I invited him to dinner, just the two of us, like old times. He came, smug as ever, thinking I was crawling back. I slid the envelope across the table. He opened it, confusion clouding into horror as he read. Line by line, his double life unfolded in front of him. His face drained when he reached the last page, my attorney's card, stapled neatly to divorce papers. "You think you're clever?" he muttered, voice breaking. I looked at him, calm as a surgeon's hand. No, just thorough. He tried threats, pleas, promises, but the power shifted in that instant, and he felt it. For the first time, he was the one begging. I watched him crumble. I didn't need to raise my voice. Silence was sharper. The payoff. He lost the house, the accounts, the company stake he'd siphoned money into. His mistress? She disappeared when the money did. His mother called me a witch, but behind her eyes, I saw respect she'd never admit. And me? I healed. Stitches faded to scars, scars to reminders. When I think back to that hospital room, the envelope, the emptiness at my bedside, I realize it wasn't abandonment. It was liberation. Because the moment he left me alone on that table, I stopped being his wife.